3, 2, 1. Oh, it didn't even say trying to connect.
So, John,
3, 2, 1, Mayor.
before we go live, is everything where the piles of stuff on the floor where they can't see it?
No, Mayor, what do you see?
That was a good,
We are live, Mayor, we are live.
that was a good idea, how you just swept the stuff off into those cardboard boxes and onto the floor and all. That worked well.
We're in a 2-minute warm-up.
Nobody will know that there's a big mess all around me. Oh, we're live, John?
Yes.
Oh, geez. And everything is spotlessly put away and not a single thing out of place. Neat as a pin. That's what they say about a sewing room. Neat as a pin, John.
Neat as a pin?
Yeah. Everything is in perfect order and nothing's out of place.
Oh, okay.
John, be careful. Don't trip over that Gomer pile. Yeah, don't trip over that Gomer pile, John.
I won't.
You don't want to break a hip.
Hi, Sandy. Good to see you. Hi, Dee Dee. Good to see you.
Be careful, John. That stuff looks like it's going to topple over.
I'm just going to sit down.
Yeah. Is there a place for you to sit? Or you just sit on one of the piles?
I better not sit on the pile.
Okay. Yeah, there's pins and needles in a lot of this stuff. Neat as a pin, John, isn't it?
I guess, Mayor.
How many weeks have we been working up here?
I lost count.
I don't know.
Hey, Janice, good to see you. Thank you for sprinkling.
Yep. We got this cleared off. Look. Don't look over here or down here or over here or up there. Just look right here. There's nothing to see anyplace else except right here, John.
Uh-oh, 7 o'clock.
Uh-oh. Can they see any of this stuff? They just see it's like nice and clear right here, John.
There's stuff behind you.
Oh, what's behind me?
Well,
Oh, man. Oh, the fabric and stuff on the shelves. Okay.
and that stuff to the right of the fabric.
Oh, all the, what's that called?
I don't know. There's drawers.
The potpourri stuff and all. What was that called? The essential oil. Oh, the bath stuff, the soap making and the essential oils and all. That's back there. But everything else just neat as a pin, John. We got it done. Yes. D-U-N-N. We got it done. Okay. Do you want to say your speech or I say, hey, it's Marilyn and John with Done by Me, coming to you live from Magnolia Hall on the Delaware in the sewing room, which is neat as a pin, except for over here, back here, and over there. But right here, neat as a pin.
Hey, Nora, good to see you. She says, happy Friday night, beautiful Marilyn.
Oh, thanks. Hi, Nora. We're trying to decide what our project is tonight.
So, hey, everybody, welcome to the Vintage Country Crafting Friends Group, and we hope you had a chance to watch the other crafters. If you didn't, go back and check them out. It's a free group. If you're not a member, please join. And Janice, thanks for inviting us along. We appreciate it. As I always say, it's an honor and a privilege. And we're happy to be here. So here we go. Nora says, I sprinkled the love for you.
Oh, thank you. You're so kind. I'm kind of messy until I get this room under control. Can you believe, I think we've been spending, has it been a month?
Seems like it, but I don't know.
Couple weeks at
least. Not keeping track.
Yeah, we don't pay attention. It took us a long time to get that room in the basement done, and it's taking us a while. You have to move one thing here and then take it to another room and then bring this in and then that. And John had to, I guess you'll call it refinish. You'll see what the piece of furniture looks like. Would you call that refinishing?
No.
I don't know what you call it. Had to clean it up, we'll just say.
Clean it up. It's
clean it up.
More acceptable.
Yeah. There's more paint on the ground outside than there is on the piece of furniture. We'll just say that. But we had to bring it over in 2 trips because we have a small car. So it's been all a process, and we're taking our time, and I want to make sure everything goes where it belongs. And a lot of it hasn't been opened up in like 50 or 60 years gone through. So everything's getting organized and figure out what we're keeping. And so far we haven't really gotten rid of much, or
No.
we haven't gotten rid of anything, but we do have a small pile that we might get rid of.
Hey, Lynn, good to see you. She says, hey, Duns.
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
But, so here's the little guessing game, the snippet guessing game. What's the project tonight? Because we hadn't decided. So I'll show you some supplies, and you tell me what we should make. So we got a magic marker, John.
Okay.
Okay. Feel free to start guessing.
Is it a permanent marker?
Doesn't matter, any kind.
Yeah.
And we have scissors. What can we do with this, John? Come on, guys, give me some craft ideas. And you know what I found, John? I have, can you see what it is?
What's it, graph paper?
It's graph paper. So I have graph paper, I have scissors, and I have a felt tip. I don't think it's a Sharpie. I'm sorry, a Sharpie, scissors, and graph paper. What can I make, guys? What's my craft that I can do? I need some good ideas. I found this when we were, it's amazing all the stuff you have. Some of the things I found, I never saw before in my life. But I've been crafting for probably close to 70 years, so you accumulate a lot of stuff, and I just never get rid of things because you might need it.
Sandy says, draw a picture and cut it out.
That's a good idea.
Hey, Lori with an eye, good to see you.
Hi, Lori. Trying to decide, Lori. I have a Sharpie, a pair of scissors, and some graph paper, and I need to do a craft. Yeah, I found this when I was cleaning out. You can't believe all the stuff that I'm going to show you. So I have something else. I have this weird paper. I don't know what kind of paper it is. It's just some weird paper. I don't know whether you can see it real good. But so I have a Sharpie, pair of scissors, several sheets of graph paper, and some sort of weird paper. So what can I make, guys? Help me out. I need my craft for tonight. This is the little snippet. Help Marilyn. help the done by me's do a craft. Come on, guys, you have to have some ideas.
Sandy told you, draw a picture and cut it out.
Okay, that's a good idea. Come on, guys, what can I do? Give me some ideas.
Hi, Carrie, good to see you.
Hi, Carrie.
Sparkle Mountain.
She's a crafter, she'll know. What can I make? I have a Sharpie pen, a pair of scissors, a graph paper, and this weird paper. I need an idea for a good craft. I want to impress everybody with how skilled and talented I am. I just need you to tell me what to do. Nobody's saying besides the one idea?
That's it so far.
Isn't that what the kids do? My granddaughter, when I FaceTime.
What's that supposed to mean?
Like, ideas.
Oh.
I think that's what that means. And guess what? I've got one more thing. They're still not coming up with ideas.
Carrie says Valentine's Day cards.
Ugh.
Nora says do a St. Patrick's craft.
And I have this. my Magnum by Plano or something like that. And that's what I need to do my craft. I've got everything here, guys, to do my craft. Is anybody going to be able to guess it?
Hi, Judy. Good to see you. She says she almost has the same shirt as you.
Ah, I don't know whether this was John's or whose shirt it was. I haven't cleaned out the bedroom closet
Terry
yet.
says, is that DMC's floss?
Yes, it is. This would be a case from like the 80s. Good thought.
Oh, so it's not for your teeth?
No.
Hi, Ruth. Good to see you.
This was actually, I think, sold as a thing for fishing, to keep your fishing supplies in. But it keeps your DMC in here. It's all numbered, colorized, and hundreds of hours were spent winding it on here. Come on, guys, what can I do? So I've got my Magnum DMC case. I've got weird paper. I have, boy, that thing's dirty, John. I have graph paper and I have this weird paper. And I have a felt tip and I have scissors. So we're going to do time travel back for this craft. We're going to go back to about 1860, John. What happened here in 1859? My great-grandfather was born in this very house. And I wonder what room he was born in.
Yeah, how about that?
And it's so weird when you think about it. Back then, my great-great-grandmother's sister lived here, and she probably helped in the delivery, and maybe some of the older kids. There were 13 kids, and my great-great-grandfather was near the end of the 13 kids.
And Sandy says, what is DMC floss?
Embroidery floss, what you use to embroider and things like that. It's 6-strand thread. Typically, when you purchase it, you'll see it in all the cool people.
Sandy
store.
says then you're going to cross stitch.
This is how you typically buy it. And that's close enough. Bing, 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 bing. So, in 1860, this was a very popular craft. The ladies would do it. This is what's called perforated paper. And I don't know whether if I put that dark. Can you see that it's perforated paper, John?
Have to wait for the delay.
Wait for the delay. It almost looks like screen, but it's paper. But it looks like...
I think you can a little bit.
Okay. It looks like screening. Okay? So, ladies would do this. Typically, a sampler was...
Hi, Susan.
they did samplers long before...
Mary, hold on. Good to see you. She says, hey, you two. She says, finally back. She fell on Christmas and shattered her femur.
Oh, my goodness.
That's what I did for turning 70.
Oh, geez. That's not fun at all.
No.
Glad you're back.
Hope you're feeling better.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Allegra said, hey, Allegra, good to see you. She says, are you going to make a sampler?
You could. Previously, like even in the 1700s, 1600s, people would embroider samplers. A sampler was used to teach young girls the alphabet and numbers, and they would practice on that, their stitching and all. Well, then in around 1860, during the Victorian times, these were for ladies of leisure. They would do cross-stitch on perforated paper. So this paper looks like screening. It has little holes in it. You can kind of see through it.
And says she never saw paper like that.
Yeah. This is 14 counts, so it's 14 holes per inch. Now, there's count and cross stitch became popular, I guess, in like the 80s or something, and was very popular. There were a lot of needlework shops. You can get cross stitch supplies and all. And the fabric came in 14, 18, 22, and linen, which I think was like 32 count or something. My friend had a needlework shop, and I used to work there on the weekends. But that's where I told you I did the pillow finishing and all. I've hustled, I told you, every kind of job you can possibly hustle.
Nora says it was used for counted embroidery.
Yeah, so
Lynn says she's done needlepoint with scrim, but it's not paper.
Right, this would be similar to scrim, but this is paper. And so when count and cross stitch became really more mainstream, like in the 80s or something, and a lot of people did it, made cute Christmas ornaments and samplers and all kinds of things, and I'm talking 1980s. It was very popular, and people did needlepoint, they did count and cross stitch and all. Typically, the count and cross stitch was done on Aida cloth, which it was the 14, the 18. Well, I was a young whippersnapper back then, and I could do the linen, which I think is 32 count, and you go over 2, and no big deal at all. I could do the 22, the 18, no big deal. The 14 was like piece of cake. Well, now I pulled out this perforated paper that's 14, and I thought, I just better get my microscope out for that. So I don't know whether if they sell a bigger count than 14, you could go over 2, but this is the fine art of perforated paper and cross stitch. And
Nora
you can
says that's what she meant, counted cross stitch.
Oh, okay.
And Lynn says counted cross stitch drove me crazy.
But this is fun. The ladies would make beautiful bookmarks for their Bible, and it might have a little some Bible saying on it. There's all kinds of things you could do. They're really cute for cards, but they're great bookmarks. So I'm going to show you a little bit about it. I have a whole big box of stuff. Most of the stuff I made I sold over the years when I needed money, but
Nora says she used to be able to do counted cross stitch.
Yeah, John has some, we call them Mr. Magoo glasses, and I just found some old pictures from back in the day, and I'll post. This is some really old perforated paper, and it's probably from many years ago. And you could see it's dry and crumply and really old, like paper. Now, I pulled out some things. This is something, and it's a shame. I should put it so it doesn't get broken anymore. This is really old. It says comb on it, and I'm sorry it's backwards. But somebody would have hung this on the wall, this little tab here, I guess. I'll put something to hold it. And then you could put your comb in this little pocket, so you could hang it next to your dresser or whatever. And this was in my stuff when I was going through. I told you I've been collecting since I was a young girl. And that looks like that's 14 count. And then this one I may have done even, I'm not sure. But it's an old perforated paper that's stitched on. And it might have been mine from back in the day. It could be like 50 years old from me. And that's what the back looks like. And I don't know, can you get, when I show it up close, you can get a good look at it. But it's just the paper. So it can be very elementary, just some simple design, or it can be very complicated. But typically these were made for bookmarks for the Bible. That was one of the original things.
Hi, Carrie. Good to see you.
But this one is my favorite because you can hang it on the wall and put your combs in it. It's just so fragile now. And I don't know how you can store it and keep it. So I thought I would take you down memory lane and let you see some of the perforated papers that I've collected over the years. So this one was probably done in 1876 for the, what would that be, centennial. So this was done, and I hope you can see it, and it's not a glare on it. But you can see it says 1776, and it's the American flag. And then it goes on over, and it's 1876. And I think, if I remember correctly, because I was a young girl in 1876, so I don't know how clear my memory was, but wasn't there a centennial? Was there like a World's Fair, like a centennial kind of a thing in 1876?
I don't know.
I know my parents had some awesome furniture, and my mother always said, oh, that's a centennial piece. She had 2 pieces. Now this, if I hold it up, I don't know how much you could see. Some of it are the crosses, like cross stitch, but some of them are long stitches. And it's really an interesting piece. And since we moved, we haven't hung anything on the walls. We did hang a few things initially. We had a friend of ours was a framer, and he framed some things, and he hung them. And then he moved away, and we didn't get all our stuff hung. So these pieces, and I'll show you the back so you can tell.
Hi, Bernice. Good to see you.
Hi, Bernice. Look how old. You can tell from the back here. Look how old it is. And these would have been all...
Hi, Cheryl. Good to see you.
Rock of Ages.
Hi, Freddie. Good to see you.
Hi, everybody. I'm back here. So this one, typically, in the Victorian times, they just loved a lot of the biblical things the ladies would do. And this says, Rock of Ages cleft for me. And you can see it's on that perforated paper. And it's just really an awesome piece. And it has color. And fortunately, it was never hung in the sunshine. But it's an old piece, and maybe they recently put it in the mat in here.
Janice says it's beautiful.
But that's another piece that I have. So you get ideas of what, if you choose to do something or not, just as fun to know. And here's one, it says, this is one of my favorites. This one looks like it's done almost with wool. It's a much thicker thread. What's this one say? God bless our home.
That's what it says.
And,
hi, Denise. Good to see you. Glad you caught us.
And it's much thicker, and it almost looks like it's wool. Now, if you have any of these things that are wool, you have to be very careful because you can get moths and things get in there and eat them. And it looks like there's foil in there to make it shine. When I look in the back, they have foil behind it. And so you're seeing some shimmery things through the foil. And then this is what...
Laura says that's beautiful.
This is what the back of it looks like. And you can see the knot hole fell out, and you can see it's like foil, something metal in there, some sort of metallic.
Carrie says the frames are beautiful too.
Yeah, aren't they really beautiful? And I mean, I could touch them up or whatever. I'm fine with the way they are.
Janice says, I love these kinds of things.
But these are all from like the 1800s. Now this is a typical frame, and somewhere along the line, probably in the 90s, they made a lot of reproductions of this style frame, and this says take it easy. This says take it easy. But the oak leaf frames, and I'm trying to get it so you don't get a glare, but this one says take it easy. And they chose very pastel colors.
Bernice says, love those pictures.
So you think these were done in the Victorian times when everything was very ladylike, very feminine, the furniture very delicate. And you would picture a lady sitting by the fire and stitching this in the evening. Pre-electric.
How'd she say?
But yeah. And that's what the back looks like. But this is when the old I forget, it's called oak leaf or something like that frame. And this is an original one, but they do make reproductions, and you'll see them around. So that's my collection of older ones. I might have one or two more, and we didn't come to them yet. But these four were together, and I thought it would be fun to share that with you. I had all these ideas of all the things all the time I'm going to do, and so I just thought it'd be fun to start pulling these out. So what I did, I pulled out the perforated paper. I want to be careful with these. They're so fragile. I'll have to see if I can do something with them. My friend used to frame everything for me, and he restored some things I had. But he and a couple of his friends moved to, North Carolina.
That's it, yeah.
So what I did was I took a piece of graph paper, and what I can do later, I'll take a picture of this and post it.
Nora loves those pictures also.
But what I did was I just took the graph paper, I took my felt tip pen, and I just X'd out, made little X's to make the heart. So if I wanted to make a word, I would just make X's on the graph paper, and then I would know that's how I want to stitch on my perforated paper. So you could say, you could put my initials. And I guess everybody realizes that Dunn by me is a total play on words. Dunn was my family's name that lived in here, my great-great-grandparents, and my initials are me, so the Dunn by me. And it's over there. I'll have to dig out. Years ago, I had a business in Cherry Hill Mall, and not into the history at that time. Some into old things, but not as knowledgeable as I became later. My business was called Dunn by Me, D-O-N-E, by M-E. So, let's see. So I can make it's not a very good M. You could figure out how you wanted to do it.
Hi Ada, good to see you.
But you would just put X's in the squares, and if you use a pencil, you could always change it if you weren't happy with it. But there's my interpretation of me, my initials, so Done by me. So anyway, I thought I would do the heart. I will take a picture and post it in case you decide you want to do it. It's not anything special. I'm sure you can make something even more involved. But I thought this would be fun. So I'm going to take the perforated paper. And like I said, this is a 14 count. I don't know whether you'd have to look at Amazon or something and see if it comes in a different count. It comes in white and a darker brown, and I just picked this as kind of a neutral color. And let me get some floss, and I'll take it out of this rather than, and I guess I'll just use the bright red. Now the tricky part will be, can I thread the needle and can I get the needle into the 14 count? And because I worked in the needle shop, I had all this stuff, and this is just a little case. And there's all different size needles, and will I remember what's what? Probably not. I'll take one of the smaller needles. Oh man, John. This is really from back in the day. I won't take the smallest. And you have to use a thinner needle because of...
Remember, you have your magnifying glass.
Yeah. So you hold the magnifying glass with one hand, and then you hold the needle with another hand, and then you hold the floss with the third hand. Works well, John. John has some Mr. Magoo glasses, we call it, from back in the day when when he worked. And it looks really crazy. And I'll post a picture of John with his crazy glasses on. So if you've done count and cross stitch before, you know you want the back to look just as good as the front. So there are no knots in it.
Hi Diana, good to see you. She said it's a snowy Minnesota tonight.
Oh boy.
How crazy is that?
Yeah. It's almost spring. And we're going to use 2 strands of the floss, so we'll just separate it. You can use a thicker strand and it gives you more of a needlepoint look, and that's kind of cool too for the perforated paper, but I'm just going to use the 2 strands. So it's going to be hard enough for me to get the 2 strands in here. Is that 2 or do I have 3? Geez, John. I have 3. That's how bad my eyesight is. So now I'm going to tell you, look away while I thread my needle, because I do exactly what my mother would be horrified.
Denise says she always has to use needles with the bigger holes. 70-year-old eyes requirement.
Yeah, I wish I had the 70-year-old eyes.
Nora says, do you have a needle threader?
Yeah, I do have one here, but to be honest, I've never used it because I used to have really good eyesight. But I had an eye injury a couple years ago, and I'm actually waiting to have eye surgery. So my vision is bad, but I got it.
Wow, Allegra says maybe you already have a magnifying light for needle crabs.
I did it one time, and I think I got rid of it because, oh no, there's one up there, look, on the top shelf. And I have this.
Still in its box.
Still in the box. I never needed it. I got
Sandy.
it from...
Hi, Sandy. Good to see you.
Hi. I got it from my friend that had the shop, and she said, oh, got you the magnifying lamp, and I didn't need it.
7:30.
So what I'm going to do, I have 2 strands, and the needles aren't sharps. They're sharps are the pointy ones for sewing that puncture through the fabric. These are cross-stitch needles, and they're not sharps. It's a small needle, but it doesn't have the sharp point like a sharp needle. If you notice, I guess they still put that on there. So I'm just going to randomly put a space. Now, if I wanted to, I could have cut a bookmark, and typically the bookmarks will have some floss and a, oh, I can't think of what it's called. What's the little thing called, John?
What little thing?
The thing, I can't think of the name of it.
I don't know. Ada says she did cross-stitch in the past, but she never worried about the back. She's just an amateur.
Yeah, it doesn't typically matter, but when you work in the shop and you're stitching and all. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick the X. I'm going to go from the bottom left to the top right of the X. Man, I haven't done this
Cheryl
for
says
so...
tassel.
Yeah, tassel. Thank you very much. Typically, they have a really pretty little tassel. So what I want to do, I can leave a longer tail and then I can go back and cut it off. So I'm going to do the bottom left of the X to the top right. I am not going to complete the X. I'm going to catch.
Yes. Allegra said tassel also.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you guys helped me out. Put that through the wrong thing. Let me go here. Between my tremors, my eyesight, and my old age and long time since I've done it, we'll see how successful. And normally I like to practice something ahead, but I thought, what the heck?
Go on the fly.
Go on the fly. So, whoop, I got the right hole and caught the thing underneath. John, you should be doing this with your Mr. Magoo's.
Oh.
So let's see where we are. So I'm just catching the tail, going right over the tail. You probably can't see it, but I'm going right over the tail and holding it down with that, and that helps keep from a knot. So I did the bottom left, the top right of the first X. So that would be this one. I did the, the bottom left to the top right. Now I'm going to the second X. I'm not completing the first. And the same thing. I'm going from the bottom left, which I'm already up there, to the top right. Not completing that X, so I just have 2 slants. And I'm going over the tail in the back, and then I'm going one more time in the same row, bottom of the X to the top of the right.
Nora said tassel also.
Yeah, thank you guys. So it's a shame it's so small, but hopefully you can see. So all I have is 3 diagonal lines. In this heart, we have 3 X's, but we're not going to do an X, an X, and an X. In order to keep the back really nice on that, let me see on one of these old ones how neat the back is. It's fairly neat. If you look, they're fairly neat. Like if you look at the tree here, it's fairly neat in the back. So I'm just having 3 slashes. I'm doing these 3 top X's, if you can see that. The 3 top X's. Okay, so now I have these 3 in a row. I don't want to jump that long distance. I could, but typically I'll go back and I'll cross the X's now of these 3. So that way the back maintains a really nice appearance. At this point I can cut this tail off a little shorter. Okay, so I'm just going to go back. And it's a shame because if I had plastic canvas around, I would have done this on plastic canvas so you can see better for that. But since you get what you pay for, and this is a free lesson, right, John?
That's right, Mara.
Get what you pay for. You get an old blind woman with a shaky hand that doesn't know what she's doing.
Hi, Carol. Good to see you. She says Seattle's in the house.
Oh, hi. Yeah, you were saying you had horrible weather there. So now I don't know how much you can see. Put on your Mr. Magoo's. Can you see that on the...
We'll have to wait for the delay.
Okay. John's waiting. It's a long delay here. But I have 3 little X's and barely. Okay. I have 3 little X's there, guys. I hope you can see it. So the back, I can actually cut this now, this tail a little shorter.
Closer was good, but it was off frame.
Oh, you want it close, but on the frame? Boy, you people are never happy, are you? There's close and on the frame, I think. So it's 3 X's. So I did bottom left, top right, bottom left, top right, bottom left, top right. Then I went back and I crossed them. So that way, the back just has a couple little straight lines.
Carol says she can see him, so if she
Good.
sees him, everybody else should be able
Good.
to.
So I just have 3 little straight lines. So now I'm going to go to the next one, and I have 5 X's in a row. And let's see where we go here. Boy, this has been years, John.
That seems pretty tedious.
It is. I have to get my magnifying glasses out. So the same thing, I'm going to do 5 X's. Is it time yet that I can finish, John?
No.
I'm going to do...
Nora can see them.
Good. I'm going to do 5 Yeah, you guys remember Mr. Magoo, I'm sure. Maybe you're too young. Ask your grandmother about Mr. Magoo. So I'm doing five across again. It's the same slant, bottom left, top right. So I'm starting out here, and I'm doing bottom left, top right, and I'm going to go all the way across. So I'm going to have 5 slashes, 5 diagonal lines, and this will make a really great bookmark. And then you can, I'm sure you can go online and buy it. I know there are books for sale and all, but it's fun to design your own. So if you use a piece of graph paper, you can design what you want it to say. You can stick with the tradition and pick a Bible verse and make a bookmark for your Bible. You can, put your name. Back when I worked at the needle workshop, now I got the 5 slashes. I'm going to go back and cross it over again.
Cheryl says she watched Mr. Magoo.
Yeah.
Hey, do you remember who the voice of Mr. Magoo was?
Who was it, John?
The guy's name just popped into my head, but I don't know if it's correct.
Elmer Fudd.
No. Well, I don't know if it's correct, but a name just popped into my head.
Somebody knows. I'm sure I can Google it really fast.
Probably.
So if it gets twisted, you just untwist it a little bit, your thread. So you could make a really tiny heart if you want. You can put your name on it. You could just put read. You could put Happy Valentine's Day. They're really cute to include in a card. It makes a great gift. Used to be able to get cards that had a place that you could put like perforated paper that you would stitch on. The card was like a frame. So now I have those. Is that in the frame? I think so.
Wait for the delay.
I have 3 and then I have 5 X's. So remember, I do the bottom left to top right, and then I come back and I cross it. And that way it keeps the back really nice and neat. The first row I caught the tail because there are no knots.
Yeah, that's who I thought, Fredna. That's what I was thinking.
Who was it?
Jim Backus.
Oh, my good friend Jim?
Yeah, that's right.
And so now I have 2, 5. Now I'm going to go all the way over, and I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. Is that what you count, John, for the row?
It's all blurry from here, Mara.
Boy, good help you are.
Yeah, I think you need that magnifying.
When we got this page, John says, oh, we'll do this together. This will be a fun thing. Just like John washing the dishes. Oh, I'll be glad to wash the dishes. I don't hear water running. I don't hear that sloshing sound. I don't hear the opening and closing of cabinets. You saw when he was washing the dishes after I made that 7-minute icing. He can't remember anything, but he'll remember the name of that icing. I'll have to make that again.
That was awesome. That was amazing.
When I have 7 minutes, John.
Yeah, I think it's longer than that.
Yeah, I think it takes longer. So what I say, I think I need 13 of these little guys. So again, bottom left, top right.
Susan says you have special skills to do this.
Yeah. Special skills is dementia, that you don't care whether you make a fool of yourself or not. But it was really fun. I worked in my friend's needle workshop on Saturdays. And when I first met her, I was in the Embroiderers Guild of America. And we just happened to start talking, and I didn't know she had the shop or anything about it, because she said she felt funny about mentioning that she had a store. So let's see how many I have here. 2, 4, 6, 7. 8. And I just happened to go into the store in this little town, the historic town where I grew up. And I saw her there, and I'm like, oh boy, what are you doing in here? And then she said, this is my shop. So we ended up becoming best friends for years. And she worked as a secretary in a company during the day, and then had people run the store. And then she and I ran the store on Saturday. And most of the people just came in to, just like our store down the shore, they were like friends. They became good friends of ours. And they would come in and hang out, and that's how they sold wool, and they had a woman, if you bought the wool there, that would work you through your project. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, I just need 2 more. Didn't I say 13?
I think so.
So that's how I learned to knit. And then there was a needlepoint artist, Teresa Lee, if any of you did or do needlepoint. She was really an amazing needlepoint designer. So she painted the needlepoint canvases. They're actually painted, I don't know whether that's, what kind of paint that is, oil paint or whatever. But she takes that scrim and then she paints on it, and then you would stitch it. So you could do a typical diagonal stitch, just fill it in, or you can do fancy stitches. But her, Teresa Lee, her designs were basically Oriental type designs. And her needlepoints were magnificent. And I'll have to see if I can dig some up where I put them, all those pillows from there. I don't remember seeing them. I'm finding all kinds of stuff. But a lot of them were fans and really pretty things. And she would send them to the Orient and have them finished. And the finishes are unbelievable. People around here wouldn't do that kind of finish. A lot of shirring of fabric and piping, and thick when you get the canvas and the shirring and the piping. She did that, but I did like the cross-stitch pillows where you frame them out with fabric. And when I come to some, I'll show you some of the pillows I did. Mostly I don't have them. I did them for a business, or I sold them, or I gave them for gifts. But the store, I would do those pillows. And then even for Teresa, I did some stitching. She only paid you $1 a square inch for needlepoint, and so you had to work a lot of hours. But if she didn't think she had enough time to send them to the Orient to do them, she'd ask me to do them for her. And I told you, I was always, I had kids, and we struggled financially for a few years, and so, well, more than a few years. So anyway, I have those in there, that row of 13. So now I look back, I just did this really long row, if you can see that. I did the really long row, and then I have to go back and I have to do this side of the heart, which I didn't do before. I just did over here, and I didn't want to carry that thread that distance. So now I'm going to come back, and I'm going to do one of these, and then I'm going to come up, and all your stitches should cross the same way. So if you always cross stitch bottom left to top right, then the bottom left stitch to top right is always the bottom thread, if you follow that. So when you go back, all your crosses should look the same. And I know that sounds a bit confusing. But the fun thing was, with my friend, we would go to the trade show. And so she only needed so many things for her shop, but she and I needed stuff. So we had this little code. So, like, both of us loved dishes. We loved all the same things. So we would go in a booth that might have, like, these really neat dishes. Trade show in New York, Javits Center. You could hop a bus or a train here in Philadelphia and get right up there. So we would go up, so a vendor would come right over to you. Oh, is there something you would want? So if, say, this magnifying glass, say it was a dish, we're not going to sell that in the store, but I would say, oh, that's a really nice magnifier. I said, I think one of our customers would really like that if they would carry it, if we would carry it, meaning I want it. And then she would say, oh, yeah, I think I know of somebody, customer that might want it. That would mean that she would want it. So they might say that's like 3 minimum or something. Then we'd have to figure out, do we want to get a third one, because that's the only way you could order it. And then there were always minimums on, you needed, like, with a vendor, $200, $300 and all. So we had all these little codes that how we would tell say 5. But it was really fun. We had a good time. We'd go out to lunch. We went to the trade shows in Baltimore, also Baltimore, Maryland. That's a little further, but how far by train do you think Maryland is from Philadelphia?
I don't know. Well, it took us like 2 hours to get
To drive?
when we drove to.
Yeah. And I don't know if you're familiar with Maryland or not. And remember, that was the exhibit at the New York World's Fair where my dad got the beer in the cup that has the crab cake recipe. Maryland is known for the crabs.
10 minutes.
Okay, I'm just whipping right along here, John. You can almost see that it's forming a heart.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. But I definitely will need to get that magnifying lamp out to continue with this. I'm just faking it.
And the goose have their own light.
Yeah. And John has a special thing, and I tried using that, but made me really...
It's set up for its prescription to your eyes.
Oh, well, no wonder I couldn't. You didn't tell me at the time.
I just remembered.
He said, here, use these. We
no,
used them for jewelry making.
It wasn't. It was just magnifiers. It wasn't a prescription through the eye. Whether it was magnified, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times.
Now the story changes. Do you notice that?
Because I can't remember.
That's what they all say. But anyway, we went into, after the trade show in Maryland, this is a what not to do. So then we go to the Inner Harbor, and there's all these really nice restaurants and all. And there's Phillips, which is known for their crabs. So we go down, we go into Phillips, and my friend said, oh, I've never eaten crabs, like whole crabs. I've only eaten them like all picked and in neat little crab cakes. Have you guys eaten the whole crabs? Because I grew up, my dad would have them, and we would pick what you call pick crabs. You put a newspaper down on the table, big old newspaper, and it's fun if you have a bunch of people, and then you have your nutcrackers, and everybody takes the back off the crabs and eats them and all. So anyway, my friend said, oh, that looks so neat, but I've never done it. Well, me, the innocent person I am, probably she knew how to do it. But what the heck? We're all dressed up, and here we are, and I'm like, oh, okay. Well, let me take the backs off your crabs for you and start it so it's easy. I just don't think she wanted to slish-slosh into these crabs. So you can see this is actually forming a little heart.
Cool.
So I'm on I have the 2 top curved parts, and I'm on the second of the long rows across. And if you look, it's not a tangled mess on the back. In the beginning, you probably will tangle it and just ignore it because people won't look at the back. And if people do, they might not know anything about cross-stitch, so it doesn't matter. But anyway, Old Mara gets a hold of those crabs and just pulls the back off of them. Juice flies all over. They give them to you in like the school cafeteria tray, big tray like that. I clean most of her crabs for her. Now, a true crab eater will eat that yellow, whatever they call it. I'm not a big fan of it, so I kind of pull it out with my hands. So then we go into the restroom after this. I mean, this crab juice is dripping on me, splashed onto my clothes, onto my face, my hands. We try to clean up. There's nothing that can cut that crab smell. But I'll tell you, if you want a whole car to yourself on the train going home from Maryland, that's what you do. People would get on and they'd be like, and then they'd go to another car. Nothing like the smell of fresh seafood.
Carol says we go crabbing several times a year. We get Dungeness crabs.
Oh, yeah, the big crabs, yeah.
They're so good when fresh.
Yeah, crabs are delicious. And if you remember, I made the crab cakes. I made the Jersey Shore dinner. Stewed tomatoes from our garden, and I've made stewed tomatoes and fresh corn on the cob. And Jersey is the garden state.
5 minutes.
Oh boy, John, I'm whipping right along here. So do you guys think you'll try this perforated paper?
Thanks for the hearts, Paulette. Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for the hearts, everybody.
But hearts for the hearts.
My tip for the day is have bright light if you're doing this. See if they have a count bigger than 14. So a count bigger than that would be like 10 or 12, or I think there's an 11 count in the Ada cloth. That's a bigger count. That's less to an inch. So 18 would have 18 little squares to an inch. This is 14 little squares to an inch. And it used to seem so big and piece of cake when I was, what was I, in my 30s when I...
Cheryl says they do something similar down south called a crawfish boil with crawfish, potatoes, mushrooms, and corn on the cob.
Oh, boy. And I always wanted to go to one of those, did they throw it on the table, like put the brown paper down? Because that always looks so cool to me.
Diana says she loves cross stitch, but it's much harder on her eyes now.
Yes, I can't believe. I haven't done this in years.
Carol says she was going to get crabs for the game Sunday, but at $26.99 per pound, they decided to go with ribeye steaks.
Jeez. And now beef is going to be high, I think, with the bird flu. So let's see, that long one. So I have 4 of those long ones to do. So I'll start the next one, John. But you can see it takes a little time to do it, even if my eyesight were good. It's a little bit tedious. But it would be a really neat gift to put a bookmark in somebody's card or just use it as a card. And once you stitch, you just cut this paper. Just like, you know, like paper. You just cut it, doesn't unravel. There's no issues with it. So my question is, do you like seeing all these different crafts and learning a little bit about them, like how the teddy bears, I showed you the supplies, and then today I showed you the supplies. And if you have any questions, just, you know, fire away.
So I'll jump in. It's almost... Carol says, I'm sure the prices of all the foods is going to skyrocket before summer. Cheryl says, yes, it's cooked with water in a homogeneous pot.
Humongous.
Oh, humongous pot that has Cajun seasoning. They spread it out on the butcher paper.
Oh, boy.
Carol says she loves seeing crafts. Paulette says, working on a pair of embroidered cloth stitches. Cheryl says,
fun.
yes, I love all the crafts. Sue says, love the craft and stories. Ada says, I do love the variety of crafts that you do. So thanks, everybody. Hey, you were...
And we're almost ready to give a tour of this room. That's how good it's starting to look. You know, I'm joking. I joke with you, and the table was heaped up, and that's what I worked on today. I don't want to just jam anything anyplace, so everything is sorted out, and I told you the fabric was already pretty organized. I still have a little bit more to do, but John's going to finish up
Ryan
here.
says, I love seeing all the variety that you do with us and show us. And hey, everybody, it's we're in the Vintage Country Crafting Friends group tonight, and please join them. It's a free group, and if you didn't have a chance to watch the other crafters, go back and watch them, and don't go away, because right after us, as soon as we're finished, is Sparkle Mountain Creations with Carrie, and she's going to be coming on right away, so don't run away.
I will finish this and post a picture, and I'd love for you to try some of the crafts if it interests you, but it's also fun just to learn even if you don't, and get a little history of this. And so I just picture my great-great-grandmother sitting in here and maybe doing the same kind of needlework in 1860, right, John?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really, it's an exciting journey for me, and so I thought this would be fun to show you. But I will post a picture of when I finish it.
Good night, Carol. So,
Thanks.
okay, everybody, thanks again, and I guess you just refresh the page, and Sparkle Mountain Creations will come on with Carrie. So, good night, everybody. Take care. Thanks
you.
for joining us. Thanks again,
for-
Janice.